Excited to read for y'all. Welcome to the chat. Okay, so as always, we're going to kick off with something that Spirit had to say about a collective message that applies for us all this week, which is we're going to start with a cliche. Change is inevitable and it's the only constant. What Spirit was talking about is save yourself a little bit of trouble by not clinging. When transformation wants to come, it comes. And it's kind of like, the Spirit is showing me like an old-fashioned game show where they would have prizes in the back and these big curtains, right? Does anybody still do this? Where it's like, okay, would you like to pick door number 1, 2, or 3? And the doors that Spirit is showing me is, do you want to pick judgment, where you have a realization and you respond to the wake-up call and make a commitment or make a big change on your own? Would you like to pick door number 2, which is death, allowing something to come to a natural death, to fall off, to molt, and to lead to the next thing? Or would you like to, you know, shuffle your feet and bide your time and kind of kick rocks and go for door number 3, the tower, where life has to take it out from under you because you were understandably, reasonably clinging to it like humans do. Nobody likes change but a wet baby. So Spirit says, don't cling. When the change comes, accept that the change is there to the extent that you can. We're human, we struggle with it. But the more that you can say to yourself, okay, this is happening for some reason. Maybe I can't perceive the entirety of the reason yet, but I'm going to go ahead and look through the lens of, what if this is happening for me, not to me? What then? How would I respond to this? Welcome, welcome, El Kabong. Happy to see you. Okay. So there is your kind of headline, your overarching message for the week. Now, let's get into the day-by-day forecast for all of us, and then we'll get into the elemental forecast and zoom in on each of the signs. The Ace of Pentacles just tried to jump out of my deck. Yes, the elemental forecast. Very funny, Spirit. Okay, let's go. Whew, thank you, Spirit, for that overarching message. And now we want to zoom down and in. We want to root ourselves into this cycle. Spirit is talking about the fact that we're in a waning moon cycle. We're heading up to the new moon next Saturday when, yeah, this is the perfect time to talk about it. Spirit's like, we won't be able to talk about it on Saturday, so we got to talk about it. And this is going to be one of those rare double new moons. New moon in Virgo this month, new moon in Virgo next month, and an eclipse. So, what do you want to, it rhymes with what Spirit was saying about changes coming, don't cling. Hey, hey, welcome y'all. Welcome, welcome. Okay, let's get into it. Okay, kicking off with some intensity. Let's go. Let's look at Monday. What we need to know for our highest good on Monday. Looks like a Monday. Okay. Tuesday. Spirit, what do we need to know for our highest good? Wednesday. Thursday. Friday. And that new moon Saturday. Hey, looks very new moon-like. All right. So, for today, Spirit kicked off the reading with Don't Cling. 5 of Cups, 6 of Swords. There is a moment of disappointment or things just not working out exactly the way that we wanted to. When we have the 5 of Cups, we can see this person is fleeing and she wants him to stay. We want this to stay the way that it is, but it's not going to. So don't cling. Don't resist the transformation. If anything, consider the ways that this might be clearing something out of your way, giving you clarity, allowing you to move forward, even if it fucking sucks. So let me give you just an example of how this could play out. This could be like somebody breaking up with us, where it's like, I didn't want this to happen. I want you to stay. But okay, if you want to break up with me, if you want to go somewhere, then at least it makes room for me to learn something from this. all of our swords with their mythical points not puncturing the boat somehow, right? So clarity, knowledge, understanding, and the ability to move forward. With the Five of Cups, I just want to say that it's okay to feel your feelings, that it's actually really necessary for you to feel any sadness or disappointment or resentment. And these are kind of the kind of emotions that can come up with the Five of Cups, to allow yourself to feel those, to not shame yourself for that. And then when you're ready, to choose to move forward. Okay? Okay. So I'm not rushing you. I'm just saying it feels to me like there's actually going to be more space for you on the other side of this. And there's something to learn from it that's really important, that gives you, like, Spirit is showing me a compass. It's like, if you will look at this loss or this disappointment, and I'm feeling different things. I feel like for some people, it's like I tried to make something happen. It didn't go the way I wanted to. For other people, it's even like, my team didn't win in one way or another. And there's like a need to recoup from that and take what you can. And the only thing you can take from a loss is the learning, right? It doesn't make it any easier necessarily, but at least you get something out of it. And that's the kind of person I am, is like, no, I am damn well going to get something out of this, even if this fucking sucks. Okay? Okay. Now, Monday. Big Monday vibes. 10 of Wands. Overburdened. Overburdened to the point, actually, that you may not see how close you are to your golden fleece, to your victory. This is the Mythic Tarot deck. So this, the Wands suit tells the story of Jason and the Argonauts, and his difficult and desperate mission to find this golden fleece. The golden fleece is a stand-in for the thing that you want the most, the thing that you would like to achieve or acquire or attain or become, right? What is your golden fleece, and how might you be overburdening yourself with too many things and like lose sight again of how close it is? It's closer than you think. There may be certain tasks or chores or whatever that you can like delegate or delete. And I'm just going to use the silly example Spirit's giving me, is like, for some people, it's like an hour of doing laundry. I could actually make money if I spent that hour doing that. So if I throw, $20 at having somebody else, dropping off the laundry and having somebody else wash and fold and then go pick that shit up, that could actually save me money, energy, etc. in the long run, okay? So what might you be able to delegate or delete so that you can see the finish line a little more clearly? Too many things. The other thing that I'm feeling is, for some of you, it's like I'm hearing a couple things. I'm hearing for some of you, it's like you care for somebody. Maybe like, I care for an elderly family member or partner who is sick or something like that. And for those people, it's like, I understand that you can't take off your burdens. Spirit is still saying, Liz, there's somewhere where it's like, okay, you know what? I'm not going to be able to make a bunch of home cooked meals. Maybe that's the part of my life that has to slide, is like, yes, I'd like to be able to do this and stick with this. But if I threw a little money at it and I had healthy meals delivered, or like got the ready-made shit from the grocery store for a while or whatever, that might give me a little bit more breathing room and the ability to show up the way that I want to and not be so saddled. Do you know what I'm saying? Now, I love that the second half of our Venn diagram is strength, inner power. You do have what it takes. That's what Spirit is telling me. Even though it's hard, even though you may feel totally exhausted, again, remember, it's closer than you think it is. So, I love this deck, but this isn't my favorite depiction of strength. Strength is not about brute strength. Again, it's the Mythic Tarot, so Hercules is wrestling the Nemean lion here. But normally we see the integration of the human and the animal. And Spirit is saying there is a better way to channel your fire than letting it out at anybody else. So you might, because it's a Monday, because you're overburdened, there might be a moment where you might be tempted to like lash out at somebody. Maybe somebody asks you for one more thing and it's just like, boop, like steam out the fucking ears. Like, I can't believe that you're asking me this. And maybe there's a chance that you could take it out on them. I want to say, shore up your strength, shore up your dignity, your inner power. Decide ahead of time now how you want to show up and behave and the way that you want to demonstrate your power. And I feel like shouting is not, it's not actually the position of power you think it is, right? So show up the way you choose to. You do have what it takes to handle this burden, and you can lighten your load if you want to. If you want to hang on to it all, I feel like you can. I feel like you have the strength to do that, so do it if you want to. But I don't know if it's the best or most effective or most joyful way to get where you're trying to go. Okay? Okay. Tuesday, double major arcana. Whenever we have double major arcana, good day, Lori, happy to see you. Whenever we have two major arcana cards, even one major arcana card points to a pivot point, a turning point, something that is kind of, you know, destined, as opposed to like a Three of Wands, where it's like, oh, hey, here's a fun little event in your life. Major arcana is like, hey, destiny is stepping in and things are happening. You, with the Fool and the Emperor together, I feel like it's, what are you in charge of? What do you want to build for yourself? You don't need to know everything. If you throw yourself in with some abandon, is what Spirit is saying, because it's the Fool. If you allow yourself to like get in over your head, that's how people become emperors. That's how people get better. Nobody picks up the guitar and just, right? Nobody picks up a video camera and is instantly a fucking Scorsese, right? We all have to learn. We all have to get in over our head to get where we're trying to go. And so Spirit is saying it's actually those of us who can acknowledge that we have a lot to learn and far to go that get to where we are trying to go. So I feel like the irony of Tuesday is not claiming expertise actually gives you the opportunity to gain a lot of expertise. So the person who knows that they're the eternal student is probably going to turn out to be the best teacher. You know what I'm talking about? Okay. I feel like there's a lot of control to be gained there too with that Emperor. What do you want to build or cultivate? And don't be afraid if you don't know all of the steps. That's part of getting there, is like, how do I do this? Huh? How do I make this? Huh? Allow that. So many of us are wrestling with perfectionism, and it keeps us from getting further. And I hate to say it, but perfectionism is procrastination in sheep's clothing. Okay? Like, oh, I can't do it yet because I'm not totally, no, throw yourself in. Throw yourself in if that's what you want to do. Get in over your head, learn as you go, make it okay for you to make mistakes, okay? Like, establish to yourself before you get into this thing, hey man, I don't know a lot about this. I'm figuring this out as I go. I'm giving myself the grace to figure it out as I go, okay? Okay, you're going to get a lot further when you do that, and that kind of rhymes with the same grace that Spirit is asking you to give yourself that will then emanate to other people on Monday with that 10 of Wands and the Strength card of like, okay, even if I'm overburdened, here's how I want to show up. These are quite, like, I see a lot of leadership in these cards. So some of you may resonate with being like a business owner, an entrepreneur, maybe a manager, someone who leads people, or community leader, or just like kind of a pillar among people. So take that seriously and be kind to yourself. You don't expect perfection of yourself. That will slow you down. That will slow you down and make it a much unhappier journey. Okay? Okay. Wednesday. A hidden blessing is actually the word that Spirit is using as I look at these cards. We have the Four of Cups and the Three of Pentacles. And remember, we put each of these in a Venn diagram together to see what they are telling us. Four of Cups says you might miss out on a blessing because you are believing your more pessimistic thoughts, or even the people around you who are a bit pessimistic. I like this rendition of the Four of Cups where we see this woman in the center, her sisters are whispering to her. And if you know the story of the cups, you'll know that later on they convince her to run away, or rather to break the rules of her engagement. And their insecurity, their doubts, their jealousy even moves her to do something that has her at a loss. So I would say to you, don't believe whether it's whispered by you to you, or whispered by somebody else to you, or cruel comments, or whatever it is. Don't allow other people's doubts or insecurities, or your own, to have you lose something that really matters. And maybe this is the right exact time to be getting this advice, considering the Five of Cups is set for Sunday. You might need to have a clear, open conversation with somebody if you're having some doubts or fears or insecurities. That could go a long way to not saying or doing something that leads to a Five of Cups spilling over of what it is that you want. Okay? So the hidden blessing in the Four of Cups is to, as Spirit referred to earlier, look through the lens of what if this is happening for me, not to me? What if I didn't get that job because if I had gotten that job, I wouldn't be able to find out the next thing or to work on this big idea that I do have and that I really want to get into. What if? Just imagine, just be the fool for a minute, okay? Epictetus, my favorite Stoic philosopher, well, maybe. Top 5, top 4, top 4. maybe number 1. Epictetus said, if you wish to improve, be content to be thought foolish and stupid. Don't worry about how you look to anybody else or how your work in progress looks to anybody else. And I will actually say, keep it to yourself. Keep your work in progress to yourself, except for the people that you are explicitly teaming up with. And I really mean that. I mean, even like, and I don't like to say this, right? But even like friends and family, there is a, there's a guideline in witchcraft where if you have something that is really important to you, something that you are putting together, hey, Roy, something that you are working on or something that you really want, whether it's like a literal thing that you're developing that will be released into the world, whether it's a transformation that you're undertaking, whatever. If it's really important to you, you keep it secret, you keep it safe. And the only people that you would reveal that to would be perhaps your fellow magicians, your fellow witches who are working on the result with you. The reason I say not even friends, not even family, is you don't know all of the inner workings of all of your friends and family. Sometimes even the people who love us the most and want the best for us, they have their own insecurities and they may project those onto us, right? So we may be really excited about our idea and we go and we tell our sibling or friend or whomever and they go, oh, you're going to do that? Okay. You think anybody's going to want that or whatever? And now that's in your fucking head and now you've got brain worms and now you might miss a blessing. Okay? So I say keep it between you and the people that you are working with only. Three of Pentacles is teamwork and it's people with different expertise coming together. So you've got a perspective, they've got a perspective, they've got a perspective. Could be teacher, mentor, editor, whatever, but somebody who can help you create a more holistic perspective, okay, of what it is that you're doing, whether it's building yourself, whether it's building a thing. Three of Pentacles, generally speaking, is about money, work, projects, growing, something that is built to last, something that ultimately you would like it to be able to grow into a Ten of Pentacles, like an orchard that cares for you, right? So I put in the work now, and ultimately I'll be able to sit back and enjoy the fruits of my labor. Three of Pentacles says there are some people around you, probably people that you're already working with, that are the only people you should share this thing with, at least for now. That's just what I'm hearing. Interestingly, okay, so I've got Thursday, right? Yep, Thursday. The Hierophant and the Four of Pentacles. So we had the Three of Pentacles followed immediately by the Four of Pentacles. I just want to draw a comparison for you, Venn diagram between these fours. Insecurity. Why does his look like that? How come he's 8 years old and he's already making shit better than I'm making and this is all I got over here? I just did it. No. Brain worms. Brain worms. Don't do it. Don't do it. Three of Pentacles. It's actually going well. So don't tell yourself that you're not doing enough. Don't use other people's yardstick. Don't compare yourself to other people. That's not going to work for you. In a resonating message with the previous day, who should you be sharing this shit with? Only people that can offer you wisdom and insight. You know how they say, like, don't take advice from anybody who isn't living the life that you want to live. You don't go to your miserable single friend and say, hey, what do you think I should do with my relationship, right? Like, and I'm not trying to be cruel, but it's like you don't go to your broke friend and say, like, how do I make some money, right? Like, that just doesn't make any sense. So there's somebody brilliant here. There is somebody who understands, Spirit is saying, somebody who knows the ropes. So somebody whose shoulders you can stand on in terms of like you have wisdom and understanding of the hierarchy that I do not. Okay? Scroll of wisdom. There's a light coming in. But also you notice this person is standing at the entrance of a cave. You have to go into the unknown. You have to go into the unknown if you're going to become an expert or a leader or a ruler, right? Right. Okay. I hope that that makes sense. Now, Friday, things, actually, I'm going to say Friday, Saturday, things kind of lighten up. The energy is dissipating in a nice way, in a way where we can kind of calm down a little bit. One note of static. So Friday, Page of Swords. There could be an inconveniently timed message or a bit of a rude or abrupt message where it's, again, like, oh, whenever I see the Page of Swords, I think of the kid that says the emperor has no clothes. Everybody's like, oh yeah, this is totally normal. This is totally fine. And the Page of Swords goes, what the fuck are you all talking about? Emperor's hanging dong. What's happening? Why are we all pretending he's not? What's going on? You might be the one telling the truth, okay? So you might have to pop out and say the emperor has no clothes. Or if somebody lets you know, listen, sometimes we're the one that has no clothes. Sometimes we're the one who doesn't know how we are behaving or acting. And this is just what I'm hearing, where it's like we do not know that we are the one who is making people uncomfortable or being a little awkward or just needs a little bit of work on our social skills or whatever, right? We might be the one. And thankfully, the world is going to be gentle with us. And we're asked to be gentle to ourselves. Temperance says moderation. The Page of Swords tends to want to go to extremes. Think of a Page of Swords is like a young revolutionary, right? They're a youth and they're carrying a sword. So think young revolutionary. What do a lot of young revolutionaries do? They see a system that doesn't work, and understandably, reasonably, they say, burn it all down, right? Like, destroy the system. But we have to think, like, but what comes after that, right? Like something, but then what? And it's like, then there aren't so many answers about building. There's understanding, like, there's interest and understanding about taking down, but not necessarily about building up. So I think that you should not be impulsive on Friday. I think that if you have a truth to tell, you should take a little time, have a little nap, eat a little meal, consider how best to deliver that message, because you might be right, right? Your truth could be correct and helpful, but it may not be the most effective if it just pops out of your mouth at an inconvenient moment, right? If you took a day or two to step back, to consider, to craft an approach, you might get what you want or be able to deliver that message in a way where it can actually be heard, right? And that's what you want ultimately. If you're trying to deliver a message, you want it to be heard and acted upon. So be gentle, moderate, careful with what shows up for you. Maybe something happens on Friday that has you wanting to call something or someone out. And I would say, again, in fact, you might do it Saturday. We're going to talk about it. We're going to get there in just a second. But be gentle, take it easy, don't go hard. That would be the wrong thing to do on Friday, according to your stars and your cards, okay? Now, Saturday, you might well have come up with the right way to say what you need to say. The High Priestess doesn't make a move or say a word until she knows exactly what to say, and the Ace of Swords is, I'm saying it. I am initiating a conversation, or I am speaking a truth. I am bringing great clarity to a situation that allows for a refreshing new beginning. Okay? So let it cook a little bit. Let your Page of Swords message cook if you're the Page of Swords. And if you are on the receiving end of the message of the Page of Swords, I still say temperance. Try to be moderate. For some of you, this could be like a message from one of your kids. You know what I mean? Like, oh my God. The proverbial, like, the when the kid tells the mom, it's like 8:30 p.m., kid's about to go to bed, and they go, oh, by the way, Mom, I need 300 cupcakes for school tomorrow. What? Like, it could be just something like that. And I encourage you, deep healing breath, temperance. Be gentle with myself and be gentle with others. That's probably going to have the most beneficial outcome on Friday, okay? So, on Saturday, you've let it cook. You have allowed whatever it is that is on your mind or on your heart to come to rest. That is genuinely going to create the most effective message. The High Priestess also says, trust your intuition. All is not what it seems. There is more information coming, and that's why I feel like Friday is not the day. Saturday may be the day where it's like, and there's that last piece of intel that I needed to be able to say what I need to say. And still, something all of your previous cards have in common is these are very calm cards. These are not go-getters and burn-it-all-downers. These are holders of wisdom, okay? So calm yourself. Follow a system or a person or a leader that you believe in, especially if you feel like you're at a loss. It's like, what do I do? Okay, I go back to Zen Buddhism or whatever, like a system that for you provides wisdom, provides, Spirit is saying like measurement, like it helps you regulate, okay? And from a regulated place with a clear channel where you're not presuming and assuming and analyzing, but rather you are letting everything kind of coalesce. And you're taking, here's my facts, here's my feelings, here's my intuitions. They're all kind of swirling together, and eventually they come together, and it's like all the pieces of the mosaic form a pattern. And you all go, okay, this is what I need to say. This is what I need to start. This is what I need to stop. This is where I need to draw a line. These are all the different meanings of the Ace of Swords. So what is it for you? What do you need to initiate or cut off or fucking record scratch and let somebody know things are changing right now? That's what I feel for Saturday. As long as it comes from this deep, abiding, aligned place where it's not one part of, this is how Spirit is saying it, okay? One part of me wants to call this person up and say, it's over, or whatever, but another part of me wants, oh my God, I want to be with you forever. That's not the fucking moment to make any kind of call, right? Like, none, right? That's the time to, again, go for a walk, have a nap, have a meal, do something else. We only want to act when we are actually all in accordance, and we all have different parts of ourselves, okay? And lots of times when we want something really bad, there's a part of us that's like, I'm scared shitless. Right? And if we run ahead without that part of ourselves, a lot of times that part will find a way to wriggle and worm around and fuck something up for us. Okay? So don't run away without yourself. Okay? Don't get ahead of yourself. That's something that I'm hearing. Okay. I hope that that is helpful. Pay attention to, and if you don't have one, this would be a good week to kind of begin incorporating a spiritual practice. Something that connects you with your intuition on a daily basis. You don't have to pull cards, although that's great. You could just go for a walk without your headphones and be like, I want to allow my own thoughts, my own feelings, my own intuitions to bubble up and flow through my mind, right? We need room for that to happen. If we're always beaming media into our eyes and ears, it's a lot harder to have fresh new ideas, to feel creative, to feel intuitive, etc. Okay? Okay. Now, cards are jumping, so let's get into the elemental forecast. Let's get into the vibe of the week for all of the signs. And this week, let's start with the air signs. Hey, hey, it's Fernando and Maria. Welcome, welcome. Happy to see y'all. Okay. Okay, air signs. Gemini, Libra, and Aquarius. There is a through line for the air signs, Spirit. Please show us what that is. The overall focus for Gemini, Libra, Aquarius. Overall focus. Okay. And just one more. Air signs, Gemini, Libra, Aquarius. Okay? Okay. Now, Spirit, let's talk about money. work, jobs, opportunities, projects. What do you want to talk about for the air signs? Okay. And how about their headspace? Any kind of messages, thoughts, worries? We want to know, Spirit, the mental climate for Gemini, Libra, and Aquarius this week so that they can best work with it. Ooh, air signs. I'm hearing what Spirit said at the very beginning, the channeled message for all of us, which is don't cling. Which is, easier said than done, I understand. But when the change comes, the more we cling, the more difficult it is. And that's what Spirit is saying. So, don't worry, we're going to get into it. We're going to talk all about it. Okay, Spirit, how about their feelings, emotions, relationships, connections? What's going on for the air signs? Okay, and one more, Spirit, want to know about their fire, their drive, their energy. How are they focusing their energy this week? This is really interesting. Oh my goodness. Okay, things have to be moved out of the way a lot of times in order for new beginnings to take place, and it doesn't always happen the way that we want it to. Let's talk about it. So Gemini, Libra, and Aquarius, here are your cards for the week. Whenever I pull a card like the Tower, I'm going to pull a clarifier to help us out. We're not going to leave you hanging, no pun intended. So, the Tower. Something falls apart. Something that you thought would stand the way that it has stood forever crumbles, falls apart. Here's one example. Spirit is like, this could be something like even just a car breaks down, where it's like, damn it, this happened out of nowhere. It really fucked up all of my plans, etc., etc. It doesn't have to be the end all be all. It doesn't have to actually be the worst case scenario. The reason the Tower is depicted like this is because human beings don't like change. Anytime things change without our permission, we kind of go through a period of feeling like this. Whether it's 30 minutes or 30 days or 30 years, we go through a period of feeling like, oh my God, everything is all screwed up, okay? But what Spirit started the reading with was, don't cling. Change comes to us all, and the more that we try to cling, the worse that it feels. Like Spirit is showing me rope burns. Like some air signs might be getting rope burns from how hard they're trying to cling to this old job or this old relationship or this old way of doing things that is not beneficial and has been, this is what I'm hearing, has been falling apart. So it's like if something in your life has been kind of dilapidated, but you've been like, or maybe like chewing gum and fucking sticking it there, putting some toothpicks on it, trying to hold it all together, that may come apart this week without your permission. And Spirit is asking you to, like they said before, seek guidance. And seek guidance, whether that's a person, whether that you have a mentor or a counselor or a therapist or just a friend who you think of as like a wise person who can dispense wisdom to you. Maybe it's a system, like they said earlier about like time to go back to my Buddhism or time to go back to this routine that I had going for a long time that was really helpful to me and helped me feel like I was growing. Maybe I've stagnated. Maybe I fell off. Maybe I'm being pushed back to the systems that will work for me. And that is something that I'm hearing. And I said that when something new wants to happen, a lot of times things have to move out of the way. You've got some pretty brilliant cards, Gemini, Libra, Aquarius, aces, and some of the really great aces too. The Ace of Wands, like the inspiration and the money. The money, the initiative, the initial milestone, the signs of life is something that Spirit is saying. Now, you might be clinging. You might be saying, no, but I want it to work like this. Yeah, new stuff, whatever, sounds good, but I know what I'm trying to do, and I'm going to sit here, and I'm not going to move. Like this is how I'm going to do it. That leads here. That's just what I feel. And when Spirit said don't cling, another way to think of it is like, how about you be proactive? Maybe you don't need to wait for a tower to fall. Maybe you can decide, I better look for the emergency exit and make my escape, or have the conversation that diffuses the bomb, or whatever, okay? Don't stay frozen and unwilling to take in any more information, or like you know, have a conversation or etc. Like I'm even hearing like, don't be afraid to take in another point of view. Don't be so attached to your point of view that you are just incorrect, right? Like flat earth people, where it's like, no, that's just what I think. And there's no amount of evidence that they could be presented with. They're like, no, no, I'm brilliant. I'm a genius. This is how geniuses act, right? No, right? No. Don't cling. And the other thing about the Two of Swords is notice how her back is to the water. She is not taking her feelings into account at all. So you might be purely trying to like stay up here and not take into account what's going on in your heart. That will also lead you to wrong conclusions, okay? And end up having, you know, well, you might end up here. Those wrong conclusions could have you ending up here. So we can see a lot of overlap here, right? If we sit around and we don't take action, if we stand around and we think about like, yeah, but that's not how I wanted it to go, we could even end up kicking over the cups that are left in our life. So I want to say, be careful not to cling, as Spirit said, careful to, I don't want to say like, I do want to say, I want to say avoid obsessing, because I see the potential for that here, and like that's what I hear as I'm looking at that Five of Cups, is like obsessing about what didn't go right, what went wrong, what's not working, to the point where you could ignore those two standing cups or these two beautiful glittering aces that are being presented to you in tandem with this tower. So something is saying, yeah, okay, this tower fell apart, and if we raise it, perhaps the fertile ground underneath it is worth more than the tower itself. So maybe this isn't as big of a loss as you might think it is, even though I want to honor that it certainly feels like one. And in some ways, maybe it is, but there is a blessing. There is a blessing. And here's the thing though, with the aces, you have to seize them and you have to take care of them. If we have a spark, that's not a fire, right? But a spark can create a fire. Could fill a hearth, could light a kiln, could start a wildfire, but only if we do something with it. And a seed could become an orchard if it is properly cared for. It contains multitudes, right? Ah, I hear that. I hear that. Yeah, and the Aries tendency to maybe like, oh, let's just see what happens. It'll be an adventure. Let's just find out. I get that. And we're all human. Nobody likes change but a wet baby. No, even though we say we want it and we want to be spontaneous and this and that. If it's a change we didn't ask for and we didn't choose, then we don't like it. At least for a little while. At least for a little while. Again, sometimes 30 minutes. Some of us have a quick turnaround, but some of us mourn that shit for the rest of our life and say, somebody took something from me. Rather than, okay, what now? You know what I'm saying? Okay. I think you know what I'm saying. All right, air signs. I hope that that is helpful. There is something gorgeous to seize here, so if something moves out of your way, I would really ask you to go again to that person or that system of wisdom and be like, what would this system of wisdom say about the fact that this just got moved out of my life? Or what has this person that I believe in said before about when something gets moved out of my life? Or whatever. Go to wisdom, go to structure and stability that can't be shaken apart, because the truth can't be shaken apart, is what Spirit is saying. And that's why they're asking you to go to that kind of level of wisdom, like my Buddhism or my religion, my philosophy, whatever, okay? Okay. Like for me, if I experience a tower moment, one of my like hierophant, I've got pantheons and boards of directors that I go talk to depending on the things that are going on in my life. And if I'm experiencing a tower moment, and I'm a Libra sun, maybe I'm going to experience a tower moment this week, I like to go to the Stoics. The Stoics always have something good to say about shit that happens that is outside of our control, and seizing what is within our control and doing the best we can with it and becoming the best of what we can because of it, right? And that is, that's hot. Okay, let's go on to the fire signs. Let's talk to Air's cousin. Aries, Leo, and Sagittarius. Aries, Leo, and Sagittarius spirit want to dial in for the fire signs. What is the through line for people with prominent Aries, Leo, Sagittarius? Okay? And spirit, let's talk about their money, jobs, opportunities, projects. How are the pentacles looking? Hey, okay. And let's look at their mental realm, spirit. What kind of thoughts? What's the weather like? Nice, okay. Couple more. Let's look at emotions, relationships, connections. What's going on in the realm of the heart for the fire signs? The realm of the heart. Okay. And finally, spirit, their own element, their fire, their drive, their energy. What is lighting them up, firing them up? I want to pull one more. I need to know. Okay. Just tell me a little bit more, spirit. When spirit says no, tell me a little bit more. No. Okay. Okay. Let's get into it. So, fire signs. You have the wonderful High Priestess as your main overarching sort of theme for this week. The High Priestess says, play it cool. It says, play your cards close to your chest. It says, there's no need to move until you know I'm ready to make my move. So relax. When I asked for more information, again, no. But also, the moon. If I had to pick a guide to guide me through the moon card, I would pick the High Priestess. The High Priestess has all of her senses tuned in, and that's exactly what we need when we're dealing with the moon. And the High Priestess is like, oh, that's my sister. Don't worry about her. Yeah, she's just a little pissed off because we didn't invite her up to dance under the moon yet. So we need to go ahead and invite her up here, and we're all going to have a better time. So you might have some intuitive work to do, some even shadow work to do. Spirit is saying, and this is very funny, Spirit is saying, and this is fire sign stuff, right? Like, of course, we're talking to the fire signs, but Spirit is saying some of y'all, the shadow work might be like, why do I enjoy pissing people off so much? Why do I enjoy the mess so much? Whether I'm making it or whether I'm just indulging in it, you know, like watching other people be messy on the internet. Nothing wrong with that. Listen, by the way, we're not, no blame, no shame, no judgment. We don't do that here. But Spirit is saying, might you be wasting some of your precious energy on fights and like kind of false starts? That's the other phrase that I'm hearing, where it's like, I'm going to start doing this, or I'm going to pick up this hobby, or I'm going to work on this skill or whatever. And then it kind of falls to the wayside because it's just kind of like, there's not a lot of commitment. The Five of Wands is, you know, like I like to set the Five of Wands and the Seven of Wands right next to each other and say, this is fuck around. Seven of Wands is fuck around and find out. So at this point, we're still just kind of playing with ideas, and there's not anything necessarily wrong with that. But I feel like it might be, there might be better ways to spend your energy. That's just what I'll say. With Five of Wands, you got plenty of energy, and you could create some really cool change, which is the numerology of a 5, right? Like you could do something dramatic. You could create a really dramatic turnaround if you were to redirect your fire to things that you really care about. And Spirit is saying that you really have an impact on. So perhaps again, a Five of Wands can very much file under, I'm in the comments of other people's content. Like I'm in the comments talking about other people's stuff or whatever, rather than I could be creating my own stuff. You know what I'm talking about? Or I could be having this conversation, but with a person in real life where we could actually come to some kind of understanding or new conclusions or something. Whereas on the internet, you know, it's just, meh. So, do you know what I'm saying? Okay, I think you get it. When I say that there's better places to put your energy and that you could make some great changes or create some great turnarounds, Three of Pentacles, teamwork. This showed up in our weekly forecast. So Spirit's doubling down a couple times. High Priestess, Three of Pentacles. Who could you work with? Don't think so much about who you're working against. like who you're competing with or who doesn't agree or whatever. Consider who is your team. Whether like, and spirit is funny, but they're like, whether they're corporeal form, human being type of team, like, oh, my therapist, my teacher, my mentor, my business partner, whatever, or my spirit posse. Listen, y'all, I have no idea what to do. I'm just trying to figure out the next step and I'm not sure where to go. Let me get with my spirit posse. Let me sit down and do some automatic writing or some card pulling, some divination, whatever. Let me tune in and try to get some intuitive information that isn't necessarily analysis, right? It's not necessarily data collecting, or at least not the classical form of data that we think of. The high priestess would definitely say it's data. So don't go it alone. Let me back that up further. Don't go it alone. Teamwork, friendships, and 2 3s, right? And in numerology, 3s are about 1 and 2 get together and create something completely new. So manifestation, brilliant new idea, the way that you could sit on your own and have good ideas, but if you bring in another smart or interesting or skilled person and you start bouncing that idea off of them, the idea can take on new life and new forms and become a much bolder, more kind of 360-degree filled out, fleshed out thing. And that's what I'm hearing. So spend time, whether it's for fun or for creativity, ideally for both. This would be great for both. Spend time with people that you enjoy their perspective and that their perspective adds to and broadens. And I wish there was a verb that meant make more interesting your perspective, because that's how Spirit is saying it. Like, whew, okay. Don't go it alone. Group work, most definitely. And again, whether they're corporeal, whether they're your spirit posse, get together and allow some other perspectives in. That is going to help you. And I definitely feel if you don't have a place where you can do that, this might be a good week to consider, like, hey, maybe I want to join a writing group. Maybe I want to join a mutual aid network, whatever. Like, maybe I want to get together with other people who know something about what I'm trying to do or have been there before, and there's things that I can, Spirit is actually using the word like assimilate. It's like there's things that I could take from that and be able to go forward with and use in my own life. So that's something that I'm hearing. Brilliant insight is what I hear when I see the Ace of Swords. So again, getting together with these people, allowing yourself to not know and not freak out about it, but instead to be like, oh, how interesting. I don't know what to do yet. I'll sit here until I know what to do. You could come up with a pretty fucking brilliant plan. And that's one of the ways that Spirit is putting it, is like a brilliant plan. Others of you, it's like, I don't know how to say the thing that I need to say, but if I will, instead of, again, I'm going to come back to the weekly forecast, instead of Page of Swords, I'll just say it then. I'll just blurt it out since I don't know how to say it. No, instead, I'll do my intuitive work and then I will know what to say. It will drop into my head. That's how Spirit is putting it, is like, it will drop into my head, it will bubble to the surface and be like, this is what I need to say, or this is how I need to start, or whatever, okay? So give yourself time and space and silence. They're saying the same thing they said earlier about if you're beaming other people's ideas and other people's thoughts and other people's words and images into your head all the time, there's no room for your own brilliant synthesis, okay? So make room for that. Clear the way for that. You could have some really fucking amazing insights and start something really fucking cool. That's just what I'm hearing. Okay. I hope that that is helpful. Ooh-wee. All right. So now let's talk to the earth signs. Let's talk to Taurus, Virgo, and Capricorn. Let's see what's going on this week. Spirit, want to know the overarching message, the theme that best serves the earth signs' highest good. Thank you. And what about their own realm, Spirit? The realm of money, effort, jobs, projects, income, resources. Okay. And what about their mind? The mental climate, Spirit, what kinds of messages? What kinds of thoughts? What is the frequency? Okay. And what about emotions? Connections, relationships, the realm of the heart for the earth signs. And finally, Spirit, their fire. Their magma, we could say, since they're earth signs. What are they feeling driven by, Spirit? What is lighting or firing them up? Okay. Earth signs, judgment, wake-up call, commitment. Hey, you know, we have these people rising from the dead. In some way, you may have been kind of going through the motions, or, you know, kind of going through life as if I'm all on my own, or there's no one to help me, or this is the only way to do this, is one of the ways that Spirit is saying it. And they're really pointing out to me how these people are kind of, their eyes are going downward. So it's like eyes on my own feet rather than eyes up. You're getting a wake-up call, and you're getting reminded that you don't have to go it alone, but you do have to go it with people who actually support you. And that's just something that I'm hearing, is that for some of you, there are wonderfully supportive people around you, but you need to connect with them. And you need to disconnect from anybody who is not. The way that I'm specifically hearing it is like nurturing and nourishing your growth. Somebody who, like, people who see you for who you really are and appreciate it, rather than, I like it when you're like this. I like it when you are people pleasing, right? And also, I petition to change the phrase people pleasing to chronic self-abandonment. Okay, that's all. We'll move on from there. So, what are you being awoken by? What are you being awoken to? Five of Pentacles, again, would say, look up, because there is help available. You might be doing something a bit unconventional. You might be going it alone. And I hear that you don't need to go it alone. You just need to, as they said, go it with people who really get you. Going it alone, going somewhere. Eight of Cups, what habitual feelings and even the habits themselves are, ooh, it's bittersweet. It's like, this used to work for me, or I used to like this. I used to like having a couple glasses of wine every night, and then it started making me sick. Or then I realized I had a problem, or whatever, and now I'm realizing that I have to leave behind what was a comforting at one point habit, relationship, addiction, whatever. Now I've realized this is hindering my growth. I've realized that I've got further to go. We're giving up the finite, very few drops of water that can fit in these cups in exchange to go to the source, the clean, refreshing, full source, okay? So what you give up by letting go of something that has been hindering your growth, something that has kept you going through the motions, something that has kept you zombieing through life, letting it go, though it is difficult now and it takes a lot of strength, you will be happy. You will receive much more on the other side. And this is what I'm hearing, is for some people, it's like, I've realized that this job, right, is not paying me enough, doesn't care about me, will have me working until like my fucking hands fall off, and they'll still never give me the kind of money or the kind of recognition or whatever that I deserve. And as Spirit said, go to the places where you get that recognition. Go to where you do feel seen and appreciated, and go away from places where you don't feel seen and appreciated. Because I do feel, and I don't always feel this when I see the Eight of Cups, but what Spirit is bringing through is like somebody is being taken for granted. And that doesn't apply to all of you. Remember, here's the golden rule. If hearing something brings up more questions than answers, that's for some other earth sign, okay? Okay. But somebody is like being, I feel like, taken advantage of or neglected. And if that happens to raise the hair on your arms, Spirit is letting you know there is more out there for you. So if you're only staying because you're convinced this is as good as it gets, Spirit is letting you know, hey, wake up. That's not the case. Hey, wake up. It's time to tell the truth. It's time to draw a line. It's time to let somebody know what they can and cannot do with you, right? So what's my boundary? What where do I need to stand up for myself, is just something that I'm hearing. And I would say that that's probably for those who feel possibly neglected or taken advantage of, whether again that's in a workplace or a relationship or a family dynamic. It is emotional in nature. It's like it feels bad. It feels draining. So where do you feel drained? Know that there is something better on the other side when you draw a line. And maybe drawing a line or speaking the truth will be the thing that catalyzes the ending or whatever. I again say there is something better out there for you. So I say, when you're ready, speak the truth even if it upsets other people. Five of Wands. I'm going to say again, you could, got a couple of fives here, earth signs. You could get stuck in feeling like sorry for yourself. No blame, no shame, no judgment. We've all done it. I've thrown a pretty good pity party my fucking self, right? But the fives are places where we can get stuck. They're tests. They're difficult moments that we are meant to pass through. Not meant to stay there. Not meant to fucking root down and be like, yep, nothing good ever happens to me. Nobody ever helps me. No. If we want help, we're supposed to look up, see that there's a sanctuary here, and go say, hey, it's fucking cold out here. I need some assistance. Okay? Five of Wands, wasting my energy fighting with people who are never going to get it. Wasting my energy sharing my passion, the energy that I could be spending on this hike on to clearer, better waters and clearer, better days. I'm going to spend fighting with people who don't get it. What Spirit is actually literally showing me is like an adult person sitting in a sandbox, like fighting with the other toddlers. Like, get out. Get out. Get out. If you feel restricted, if you feel like you're zombieing, if you feel like you're going through the motions, say that. Ace of Swords, say it, because maybe you need the other person to tell you to get out. That's not true for everybody, but that can be true for some of us, right? It's like, well, I'm never going to leave, but if this person would break it off, or if this person would tell me you're never getting that raise, or whatever it is, then I would go. Start the conversation. Don't wait, okay? Don't wait. Don't just kick rocks and feel bad for yourself. Again, that doesn't apply to everybody, but if it resonates, take it, okay? And know that it can change, that you can stop doing that, that you can honor yourself. And that's the phrase that I'm hearing is you can say, hey, this doesn't work for me. Hey, I need more. Can I get it here, or do I need to go somewhere else? That's a very clear conversation, whether it's about money, whether it's about time, whether it's about love. I need more. Am I going to get it here? No? Okay, bye. That could be the way that this plays out. Okay. I hope that that's helpful, earth signs. That's intense, but Spirit kicked off the reading with we're in a waning moon cycle. Again, we're heading up to the first of 2 Virgo new moons. What does Virgo do? Virgo sweeps out the dust. Virgo separates the wheat from the chaff. This is valuable. This is working. This fucking sucks. Get it out of my way. It's taking up space, right? So the change comes, and we are asked to be courageous and not to cling to anything that is being swept out of our life, or, we're being shown, hey, this is not it. Maybe I was putting all my eggs in this person's basket, and hey, I should be keeping some of these eggs for myself, Okay. Okay. Now finally, let's talk to my dear and patient water signs. Let's talk to Cancer, Scorpio, and Pisces, whether it's your sun, moon, rising, or you've got a few personal planets in there. Cancer, Scorpio, and Pisces. Spirit, want to know the through line for the water signs this week. Beautiful. Okay. Now, what about their resources? Money, projects, opportunities, business. Okay. And what about the realm of the mind? The kinds of thoughts the kinds of messages and communications. What is the weather like, Spirit, for the water signs this week? Okay. And what about their own element? Love, connections, emotions, relationships, Spirit. What do the water signs need to know for their highest good? These cards are jumping. What do they need to know, Spirit, for their highest good? Cancer, Scorpio, and Pisces. Okay? And finally, what about their fire? Their drive. What is lighting up or firing up the water signs this week? Hey, beautiful. So the first thing that I'm hearing is reunion. There's a really lovely, like a get together. And I feel like there could be like a literal party involved, whether it's a dinner party, whether it's a birthday party. I feel like a joyful gathering and a joyful celebration. I feel some other things too. Let's talk. Okay. First card up, your overarching theme for the week is temperance. Take it easy. Lovely for the water signs. Something that Spirit is saying, I really like this, is she's only got 2 cups in her hands, but she keeps this water eternally fresh by just gently moving them back and forth. You don't need to get more, in other words, right? Like you don't need to acquire more. You can work with what you have, work with it gently, and have a much better outcome. I like to see that Spirit's telling you you don't need to get more, because sitting in the position representing money, resources, jobs, projects, 4 of Pentacles. I'm feeling actually a couple different things with this. One thing is Spirit is saying, consider your stability financially. Consider your financial stability this week. Like, am I saving? Are there places where I could move my money around a little bit, because the 4 of Pentacles is quite like a constipated financial energy. I'm all backed up. I'm holding on to everything that I have, whether it's my money, whether it's my skills, my ideas, to the point that I'm actually cutting myself off from other resources. So there's an element of share, whether it's your skills, whether it's your time, whether it's your ideas. Don't hold them to yourself. Move them around. Temperance says move them around. Stiffness and holding back and holding in is not the move this week at all whatsoever. It's actually very movement oriented. Water signs, I also want to say, doing more doesn't get you more this week. Sometimes there are weeks where it's like, put your pedal to the metal, put your shoulder to the fucking door and break that shit down. This week, Spirit is actually like, tend to, again, yourself. Tend to your stability. Tend to your ability to, it's like sustainable. Tend to your ability to make something sustainable. If valuing consistency over intensity is something else that I'm hearing. So for example, somebody who wants to start a creative practice and they haven't done their creative practice in months or years or decades or whatever. And they're like, okay, I'm going to write today. And then they sit for like 3 hours pounding out words, right? That usually results in, oh my gosh, I've, squeezed everything out. Now maybe I need to lie down for a few days, right? Like maybe I need a lot of recovery time because I squeezed it all out. Spirit is like, consistency is much more valuable than intensity. If you did 5 minutes of a writing practice every morning before you started work or whatever, that, even though it's less time than those 3 hours or whatever, you would be developing a habit. You would be strengthening your confidence in your ability to show up, in your ability to actually do the writing, etc. And I know that it doesn't come naturally, right? Especially maybe the Scorpio people. It's like, I want to do the intense thing, but Spirit is like, being more measured is going to get you better results. It just is. That's just what I see. And keeping your mental and emotional and physical health as priorities as you try to achieve whatever it is you're trying to achieve, those things do not get in the way of you achieving your goal. They support you achieving your goal. Okay, you crossing the Spirit is so funny. Spirit is showing me, have you ever seen that famous footage of like the guy crossing the finish line of like an Ironman competition, and he's super skinny and sinewy, and he's like walking like a baby deer, and he's collapsing? Spirit's like, that's not what you want to do. You want to have plenty of gas in the tank. You actually want to stop the gym session or the art session or the business meeting or whatever while you still have gas in the tank for the next day. Okay? So avoid extremes. Extremes are not serving you this week. Oh, I hear y'all. Yes, I relate to both of you. I relate to both of you. Okay, so water signs. You know those neon flashing lights, like Eat at Joe's? Spirit is showing me like guilt, 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 guilt. This is something water signs deal with a lot. Is like, am I abandoning my post because I'm not giving up all of my time and energy for other people? No. You need to take care of you. You really need to take care of you. In fact, it's not to the exclusion of other people, or like because you don't care about other people. If you are not here to take care of them because you burnt yourself out, like, how do you take care of them, right? So you coming to a conclusion that like, actually, this is not my fight. This is not my problem or my struggle. I'm allowed to leave relationships or places or dynamics where I get drained, or where I feel, this is what I'm hearing, like I have to be dishonest in order to be in the space. And this is just one of the ways that Spirit is showing it to me, is like getting really uncomfortable because a friend starts gossiping about another friend. And you're like, I don't like this. I really don't like this. What do I do? You're allowed to leave that. If it feels dishonest, if it feels icky, let me tell you, Spirit is saying, whew, the amount of bandwidth that people, let's say, having affairs, are giving up because they have to do all this calculating, like the genius things they could do, the Ironman races that they could fucking accomplish, but no, they're like over here fighting battles and having secrets and tiptoeing around and shit like that. You could have a lot more access to your genius if you leave places where you feel like you don't get to be your whole self. So if you feel like you have to lie, or if you feel like you have to like sail under the radar or whatever, I just feel like it's not worth being there. And there are better places for you. And here's the evidence for that. Better places, better people. A joyful reunion, or again, like this feeling of homecoming, or just a party. Just getting together with people that you love and people who remind you, Spirit is saying, remind you who the fuck you are. Like, we exchange magical cups. Both of these cards, if we put them in a Venn diagram next to each other, soulmates would be one of the words that we would see pop up that has a relationship, okay? So whether that's a romantic partner, or whether that's a sibling, a family member, a best friend, there is a feeling of like, you know me, you get me, and we replenish each other so well. No one's taking from the other. It's all in balance. It's reciprocal. It's balanced. It's passionate, but it's not scorching. It's warm. It's a hearth. It's consistent more than it's intense. You feel me? That is something that is built to last. Get around people that remind you who you are, and even remind you who you were before you started maybe picking up other people's burdens or trying to make yourself fit into other people's boxes or spaces. You have a lot of magic and a lot of natural intuitive gifts, water signs. Like, all of the elements have their birthrights and their strengths. And your sensitivity, your permeability, your like natural mediumistic kind of qualities, they require you to take extra care to put yourself in spaces that are clean and loving, because you tend to take on other people's energy. You tend to absorb the vibes around you. So you got to be sure that the vibes are immaculate, okay? And if the vibes are not immaculate this week, permission to get the fuck out of there. Okay? Okay. Take care of you. And that goes for all the elements, damn it. Thank you for being here, y'all. I'm so glad that the whole thing worked. Nothing blew up. That was amazing. Thank you, as always, to the mods. I super appreciate you. I see you keeping the space clean. And thank you to those of you who share with other people what the space is for. I appreciate y'all so much. I really hope that this reading serves you well and returns your generosity many times over. And I look forward to seeing you on the new moon next week. Day after the new moon? That's the one. Next Sunday. Let's say that. All right. See y'all next Sunday. Take care. Aw, you're welcome. Thanks for being here, y'all. I'll see you next time. Bye.